Alright, so in this week's episode of Boruto Naruto Next Generations, episode 44, this episode brought us a bit of tension that is starting to develop with the Byakuga gang. We are actually starting to see a ulterior motive with the leader of the Byakuga gang. We don't really know exactly what they are up to at this given moment in time and why they are trying to do these things, because we do see that these, band of misfits, so to speak, aren't necessarily going out of their way to steal from the rich and give back to the poor and help them out. But the thing is, though, the vibe that I'm getting from the ringleader of all of this, who is actually setting out these, plots to the Hidden Leaf Village, it seems as though there is something much more, bigger in the overall picture as to what exactly they want. I mean, let's face it, the actions of the Byakuga gang clan are starting to become more brazen throughout, the Hidden Leaf Village, and with this, security has to be updated, and with that, we have it to where even Genin are, helping out to at least, give the Chunin and the Jonin some leads as to, how exactly they can deal with, these individuals who are going about and committing these crimes. Now, the Genin are ordered not to engage unless ordered to, but yeah, we even have it to where the Genin are helping out, and every Chunin and Jonin in the village is necessarily mobilized to take action. So if anything, necessarily these individuals who are helping out the poor seem to have a bigger ulterior motive, and they are just doing this in order to gain a specific reputation to actually, be seen as good individuals. And because of doing this, they actually receive some followers revolving around in the Hidden Leaf Village who are actually helping these individuals out. But anyways, going back on the topic of the Byakuga gang actually receiving some followers from the Hidden Leaf Village, I actually noticed that directly after the conclusion to this episode, because originally at the end sequence where we see actually Tamari and Shikidai and Boruto, chase Ryugi, we actually have a name for this character, by the way. His name is Ryugi. I believe that is how you pronounce his name. The individual who is a part of the band of misfits in the Byakuga clan gang, who is actually playing shogi with Shikidai and building this bond with him. But we will get to that in a bit. But we see these three ninja trying to go after one of the Byakuga clan members, and when they are trying to capture him, he ends up escaping by hiding in a bush. And the thing is that, like, we have literally Tamari right there in front, as well as Boruto and Shikidai. We have those three ninja literally standing in the open with a small crowd of people who are just surprised by the fact that, these three ninjas seem to be coming after them for no apparent reason, right? But you have one of these civilians in front of Tamari stating that a suspicious-looking man went that way. So I immediately thought that because of the fact that this individual seemed to have a mark on his neck, and also the scene leading up to Tamari stating that, it seems as though some of the Byakuga clan members seem to have jutsu that they're just not aware of at this given moment in time, I immediately thought that, oh, maybe there is a possibility that Ryuji could have a possession type jutsu of sorts. Once it creates a mark on the individual, you can at least use that individual to a certain degree. But actually that is not the case, because from what we see by the end of the episode, we actually have one of the Byakuga gang members tell to the leader of the whole group that it seems as though we have had some help with these followers of the Hidden Leaf Village, and that is when the leader states, good, now we can take our plan of action even further. So we do see that we seem to have, some sort of followers that are being built up around the Hidden Leaf Village simply due to their cause. I believe it was even stated in this episode with Himawari that she actually believed what the Byakuga gang was doing was necessarily a noble cause. They are noble thieves of sorts because they are stealing from the rich and giving back to the poor. But nonetheless, it's still a crime. But because of this, some people in the Hidden Leaf Village are actually believing that, these this gang, so to speak, is noble in their cause, and therefore gaining followers within Hidden Leaf Village. So it's actually something very, very interesting that I personally found out, because, I mean, you have civilians working with necessarily the antagonist. But yeah, when it comes down to the general gist of this episode, what you really have to take in is the Byakuga gang is necessarily building up something a whole lot bigger here. They have ulterior motives. There is a bigger plan of action that they are taking. If anything, helping out the poor is just necessarily a cover-up for them. And Ryugi, or Ryuji, however you pronounce his name, the individual who is helping out with Shikidai in this episode, playing shogi and whatnot. I love their dynamic between the two, by the way. But when it comes down to him, he seems to, be totally oblivious to this factor. He is literally a pawn. Even the leader states that to him, And Ryugi, I have a feeling that he knows it, but he just doesn't know how to live life any other way, because all his life he's been technically just serving, so to speak. So there is that. And also, when it comes down to the bond between Shikidai and Ryugi, we see that they are developing a stronger connection in terms of their friendship level, but Shikidai is beginning to have his doubts. And there's actually one thing that Shikidai hears from Ryugi at the park scene that makes him start to think that, I really hope that this guy is not a part of the Byakuga gang. And that is when Ryugi basically states that, 1, I moved into this village not too long ago, and 2, this research facility that Boruto mentioned earlier seems to be of vital importance. There's a lot of, cool stuff there, so to speak. Even though Boruto and Shikidai state, that it's mainly just junk, but overall, this is basically a storage, so to speak, to what the Byakuga can capture for their own personal needs and whatnot. So yeah, when it comes down to episode 44 of Boruto, I actually thought it was actually quite entertaining and actually quite interesting on how everything is actually developing so far. But when it comes down to the overall picture of what exactly the Byakuga gang's true motives are, that is still not necessarily to be known as of yet, but we can see that there is a larger picture here, and I'm very curious if that will be executed correctly. Hopefully it will, and hopefully it will be a big payoff, and hopefully it will end on a good note, because I don't want this to fall flat like how some of these arcs in Boruto usually go about. It usually actually gets really interesting, but then all of a sudden, it's like a satisfying ending, but at the same time, it just kind of falls flat, But hopefully, we'll see something. Hopefully, we'll see something. I personally thought that this episode was interesting, and I'm loving the dynamic between Shikadai and Ryugi in this episode, and just seeing Shikadai, get some screen time in, these past few episodes of Boruto, I actually really, really do love. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What did you guys think about this episode? Any speculations or predictions you have for next week's episode? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, be sure to drop a like. It always helps out the channel, and if you want to see more, consider subscribing. I'm Professor Anime, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.